What is up, guys? Mcdoubles back again with a brand new video, and today I've got the Runemaster for you on Conquest of Azeroth's custom class alpha. They raised the level cap to 40, so we're going to pick up a class we haven't played yet, level it all the way to 40, and check out all of the brand new features from this alpha. Now, the best part, I think, guys, is that they've added a form of talents, so we'll be able to look at their version of that as well. I will say it's more like Legion, less like Wrath, but when you have 21 custom classes, what do you expect, right? So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's jump right in. Alright guys, strap yourself down and get ready, because going all the way to level 40 with a brand new class that we have not obviously looked at yet is going to be a long one. It's going to be a doozy, okay? Let's go ahead and take a look at the stuff that we start off with the Runemaster, and right off the bat I will say, double daggers. Okay, so this is going back to that Guild Wars 2-esque kind of hybrid elemental melee class that's also a caster. It's very interesting, and I really think it's sick, and I'm really glad to be able to play some iteration of it right now with the Runemaster, right, in World of Warcraft. So this is what I get. First of all, 3 schools of magic: Arcane, Runic, and Riftblade. Okay, that's really sick. And we have a bunch of abilities that we start off with. So let me start off with Arcane. First of all, we have a passive called Mind Guard. This is something I've seen a lot, and it's very fascinating. This reduces your stamina by 50%, which you would think would be very bad, but it increases your mana by 20%. More importantly, though, I am now protected by a magical barrier that causes me to lose mana equal to any damage I take, like a permanent mana shield. But the damage I take is reduced based on how full my mana bar is. So at 100% mana, I take 99% reduced damage from all sources. And as my mana decreases, and decreases is spelled wrong there, so fix that, the damage you take will then increase. So that's interesting as well. As I lose mana, I take more damage, and so it all comes together. But if I can maintain my mana through any means, I'll actually be basically invulnerable. And healing done to me by other players actually restores 15% of the amount healed as mana. So they're healing my mana bar, and I'm using my mana as health, and it's a really cool archetype. I also have what I'm assuming is my spammable on a 1.5 second cast, 30-yard range, Spell Wrath. I blast the target enemy with magic, causing really crappy arcane damage, but I restore 2% of my max mana instantly. So at the very bare minimum, even if this isn't my main spammable, it looks like this will be a good way to regenerate mana, because it also says I get an additional 1% of my mana every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. So I can spam that to immediately try to get mana back. It doesn't actually cost mana, if you notice, to use this. Or I could use it every 10 seconds for like a little replenishment effect. I don't know, maybe it's just a combination of both. Okay, in the runic tree, I have Inscribe Rune. You create an inscribed rune used to empower some abilities. This lasts until canceled. Each inscribed rune also increases mana regeneration by 5% of your intellect. So my critical strikes with arcane spells generate 1 rune, and I can have up to 8 of these at a time. Oh, I see. So I have this little bar right here. So I guess I should just make them all, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now with 8, you can see, increases your mana regen by 40% of your intellect. So what is my mana regen right now at level 1? 56? I only have 132 mana! Wow, that's actually pretty bonkers, not gonna lie. And it says critical strikes with arcane spells generate a rune. So I don't have to just create them, I can generate them through critting. So crit looks like my main stat right off the bat. And lastly, we have the Riftblade tree and rune daggers. You wield ancient weapons of great power, enchanted with mystic runes that allows your magic to flow through them, increasing your expertise, that's really important, main hand weapon skill, and offhand weapon skill ratings by 30% of your intellect. So my primary stat is obviously intellect. Your auto attacks also deal arcane damage based on your intellect. That's interesting. And additionally, every 10 seconds, I switch between fire damage and increased frost damage. So I have one of the two increased. And I'm not really sure if you're supposed to play around that, but it could be that my rotation works perfectly into it, or it could be that I have to pick one of the two to have my wow moments, you know? Or it could be something wildly different. I don't know. But we're going to play on I'm a Guy IRL on a gnome with the best haircut that I've ever seen, man. It doesn't even logically make sense with gravity, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because we're going to go to Northshire and start leveling this guy up. as far as I'm concerned, the levels at which you get new abilities are completely random, and I have no idea. It's not uniform like in regular WoW, so we'll see what we get along the way at whatever levels we happen to get them. The only other thing I want to show you guys as I make my trek to Northshire is the new semi-talent system, right? I say semi because, you know, the BFA and Legion talents, you know, the Cataclysm, that's when it really began, right? Those kind of talents, they're talents, but they're really kind of not, you know. True talents have many different passives and little interactions, but this is like new age normie talents, and this is what Legion does, except it's much more complex, which is the only reason why I'm going to support it at first glance. I think it's just what Legion should have been. You know, like we all know Legion and BFA and Shadowlands, like, you know, the ability talent system could be good, but they give you so few options, and they rehash a lot of stuff that you've already had in the past if you've been playing the game. Well, this is completely different. So it's not telling me what the spec is. It looks like it says Spirit Mage ... and then the spec. So you could just assume that it's the three that I read off earlier, being the Arcane, Runic, and Riftblade. We'll just do it in that order, right? And so right off the bat, it looks like starting at level 30, I'm going to acquire Ability Essence, meaning I think my first choice here is actually 32. So let's say 32 or 33 just to be safe. But at that level, I can start choosing abilities, and I get one of two choices, and then I move up a tier. One of two choices, I move up a tier. And then I apparently end on something at the very top, level 51. So as an example, it says Mana Storm, 1.5 minute cooldown at 51, instant cast, fire a stream of magic missiles into the air, striking all enemies within 15 yards for what I'm assuming is big arcane damage to every target hit. So that's going to be like Starfall on steroids, right? So that's pretty sick. But some of them don't just have one ability. I mean, look at these two. On this, I have like 5 choices at the very end. I mean, do I only get one of them? And if so, that's sick. You know, there's going to be a lot of diversity if that's the case. Just as some examples, over here in the middle, we have Improved Atomic Split. Apparently, I'll get an ability called Atomic Split, and I bet it's like mirror images. But essentially, it increases the duration by 10 seconds and increases flight speed granted by the spell. What the? Do I get to fly and float? Anyway, it also reduces magic damage taken by 4% just permanently. In the other tree, we have some examples. Let's see, Phase Out, Vanish from Sight, entering an improved stealth mode for 10 seconds, so Vanish on steroids. And also things like Mage Breaker, steals a beneficial magic effect from the target on a 25-second cooldown instant cast. This effect lasts a maximum of 2 minutes, so I'm stealing their magic effect. There's some pretty powerful ones on here, man. I get it for 2 minutes, like Spell Steal. But if I successfully steal an effect this way, the target suffers 60% reduced spell haste and 200% increased ability resource cost for 5 seconds. So they're basically down and out. And that's really powerful. So I just wanted to give that quick aside. Once we get to 30, we'll actually delve into this, but it exists and it's really cool. Anyway, let's start leveling, guys. Okay, level 4, and we got a brand new ability, Primordial Blast. Now, last I saw, this was a shaman ability, so let's see what it actually does on this class. That's a lot. 2-second cast, 15-second cooldown, blast the target with runic magic, dealing 16 to 19 arcane damage, and triggering a Fire Frost or Arcane Salvo, I think that's how you say that, on your target at random. This spell also launches your shards generated from Thaumaturgy to deal bonus damage of their respective type and perform an effect based on the type of shard launched. Conflagration, each consecutive fire missile trigger deals additional damage. Slowness, slows the target's movement speed, stacking 3 times. Arcane, restores mana. Okay, that's complex. So what's actually going on? Alright, let's try it. Primordial Blast. Okay, Frost Salvo. Your damaging spells and attacks have a chance to launch a Frost Blast, dealing frost damage and slowing the target for a short time. Interesting. Okay, so it's a buff. Basically, I put a buff on myself, and then that buff benefits my other spells. So that's pretty cool. So Arcane, dealing arcane damage. Nice. That's really sick. Look, random stuff is happening. Like, I'm just using Spell Wrath, and now it's AoE. Why? Was it my buff? Let's see, Primordial Blast. Is that what the Arcane one really did? Yes, they hit multiple targets. Wow, that's actually interesting. So it like shoots a little frost bolt, and apparently it's conal or something, because it was hitting multiple targets a second ago. That is so cool. I really, really like that. Oh, you can have multiple up at once too. So it looks like you can only have 2 up at once based on the timing of it all, but that's still really sick. This is like stupid powerful. I don't know where the daggers really come in, but as a caster right now, I'm pretty freaking intense, right? I'm basically every spec of mage at level 6, which is pretty fun. Okay, level 7, and I just threw that off my bar thinking it was something else. Conjure Runic Familiar summons a Runic Familiar to assist me. This companion cannot attack and will not regenerate health passively. All right, let's see. Ooh, pretty fast. Oh, yes, what does he do? Does it ever tell you? Oh, okay. I don't have pet. He doesn't have any abilities. Now, I have this other one, though. Displace Familiar. 10-second cooldown, instant cast. Your Runic Familiar warps to the target location, where it will remain for 10 seconds. Upon warping, the Familiar will unleash a burst of magic, dealing 16 to 21 arcane damage to enemies around it. Interesting. Okay, let me just try it. Oh my god, no. That's broken. 2 damage. Oh, that's so stupid. In a good way. Like, I didn't entirely understand it, right? It remained for 10 seconds, so it only does the damage once. Okay. But this gives you a way to move the Familiar. What a fascinating concept. I thought I was going to go double daggers, but the caster spec, it's already feeling really good. But more importantly, what a take on a pet, right? Cannot attack, and the whole point of it is you moving it around so you can get some kind of effect. Starting off with AoE damage, like that. Wow, and it's big, it's worth it, it feels good. All right, so we got Journeyman Pants. Gear matters right now because it's alpha. There's not a lot of gear on the auction house on the alpha. Everybody's fresh, right? So you know what? If I want to compete at 40 and all along the way, right, I do need to be picking stuff up. BGs should be active, and so we can get some PvP going. I really think this guy is going to be good for PvP. Feels like it's being built for PvP. Okay, it also looks like we got a buff with this guy, and it's called Field of Destruction. So again, it's just a buff I use, and then he applies it to all of my enemies, essentially making them just take 5% more magic damage, which obviously is a really nice buff. So I can shoot him over there. Primordial Blast. It's fire. That's so cool. So it burns him over time, like Fireball Ignite. Flame Burst. Nice, okay. Burnt Leather Vest, I'll take it. I'm actually extremely tanky and do a pretty decent amount of consistent damage over time. The damage is nothing crazy, but again, it is very consistent and also dynamic. It's fun. There's different things to do. I can let that guy teleport. He smacks pretty hard. That is nice, but it's just one time. I can Primordial Blast, get these little buffs off, and if I pull a bunch of guys, I mean, hey, I can AoE them down pretty easily. Kill him with this. Look, just chill. And they all... Okay, well, this guy's still alive. But you guys know what I mean. It's not the most damage, but it could scale very well. And also, we haven't picked up anything to really utilize the daggers yet, and I know it exists. So there's completely different play styles we could pick up as well that could be very strong. And it could be good in PvE. I think the first dungeon we do is going to be a good test. We'll see how much damage we're doing on the DPS meter. It could be one of those things where it looks like a bunch of little numbers, but it adds up very quickly, and it's just not registering, especially if we do big pulls, right? Okay, all my quests are done. All right, level 10, and we got a brand new ability, Warp. You warp to the target location, grants you Cosmic Impact, increasing your spell crit by 15% and spell haste by 10% for 15 seconds. Interestingly enough, it stacks 3 times, so let's see, is it just blink? Oh, it's better, it's like Heroic Leap. Nice. Wow, it's on a pretty low cooldown too, 14 seconds. That's a really long range, up to 30 yards. That just feels good. Now, I wonder, can I go on top of things? Let's see. Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Thank you, Ascension! All right, can I get on the roof? Oh my god, BGs, guys. I'm gonna be so annoying in BGs. It's just wrong. I'm gonna be that guy, and I do remember them saying, if our class can do it, it's okay. That includes getting onto buildings and BGs that were never intended to be gotten on top of, I guess, right? So, okay, I can do it. It's fine. It's fair. Okay, level 11 and the BG popped, but we got a brand new ability right before that. Aspect of Dominion. Do I have another aspect? I don't think so. I think that's my first one. All right, let's see. So, increases my threat. Oh, it's a tank stance. What? By 80%, gives me an 8% chance to reflect harmful spells cast on me. Increases spell power by 50% of my agility. I don't think I want to use that, right, for a BG. However, I mean, could this be good for just, you know, using daggers? I still need something to just hit them with, right? I can't auto attack. That's not going to work. So for this BG, I'm just going to stay a caster, summon the familiar, and just kind of see what I can do on the sidelines. Okay, currently, I can't kill this guy and he can't kill me. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if I have 8 of these runes for the mana regen, because I take so little damage when I'm at full mana, literally I only take 1%. I'm getting hit for ones. I'm basically invulnerable. It's kind of hilarious. Like, I don't even have to do anything. I don't have my familiar up. I actually counter him. He's full of a bunch of tiny hits, and the way it's working is just like, it's all hitting me for 1. I'm ridiculous. The way this works is kind of bonkers. It is bonkers. It's broken. I guess I would make for a very good flag carrier. I also can just get the flag from this guy by default because I can do that. That's great. We are actually losing right now, so this would be very good for my team. They just made me drop the flag because I used warp. All right, I guess you can't use warp with the flag. Yeah, that's pretty lame. I don't know if he's even talking about the same thing as me, but it is, man. So the worst part about this class right now is that there's a constant sound in the background that you can probably hear right now. It's like a buzzing sound as a result of one of my buffs. It never goes away, man. I'm trying my best to avoid it, but it's a losing battle. All right, that's 2 caps. All right, level 13. Let's do one more and get to 15. Wait, brand new ability, Mana Strike? Yes! Instantly attack the target for 7 to 9 arcane damage, burning 14 to 20 mana, wow, and dealing arcane damage based on the mana burned. Yes! This ability restores mana based on your spell power, okay. And using this ability cycles your current blade type. What the fuck? So I decided to do some duels, right? Let's just do some PvP, an actual fight. And the first guy, he's basically the same as me gear and level wise. The second guy, he's out leveling me and out gearing me, but we decided to go for it anyway because he's still the same PvP bracket. Screw it, we just wanted to try. So I want to show you guys these 2 fights.
Round 2. Fight!
Okay, I've learned something very valuable from those 2 fights. Number 1, I learned that all other things equal, Runemaster is pretty freaking strong. Number 2, I learned that I can actually proc the Primordial Blast buffs with the Mana Strike, and also that Mana Strike in and of itself is bonkers broken. Did you see me run that Tinker out of mana? I feel like I only lost to the Cultist due to a 6 level difference and a gear difference. This is a crazy class, man. I can't wait to try it some more. It's fun that I can actually do regular duels with people, you know? And it's not completely random. You know, I can know what a cleric has. I can know what a... Why? Anyway, it doesn't matter. You guys get my point. The point is, it's kind of like Ascension in that everything is new, but it's also more like retail in that there's skill in knowing what everybody does and knowing how to counter it and how to utilize your class to its maximum potential in order to do so. And that's something that really entices me about Koa. Anyway, due to the fact that I randomly got this criminal buff and it's screwing me right now outside with the guards, I think I'm going to start doing more BGs, getting 15 like I said, and getting into those dungeons. All right, I am waiting for Hogger with this random guy, and I am level 14, and I've acquired a brand new melee ability called Elemental Blade. It says an instant strike that causes magical damage based on your current blade type. Using this ability will also cycle to the next blade type. So this is very interesting. First and foremost, it also says if you have Blade of Flames, this ability deals large fire damage and gives me 1 fire essence. If I have Blade of Frost, I deal frost damage and generate a frost essence and slow the target. And if I have Blade of Magics or the arcane version, I do arcane damage, generate arcane essence, and can be cast from a longer range. The elemental blade, that is. So that's interesting. So it changes every time you use it, I guess. Alright, it did 16. It's spammable, though. But how is this working? Using this ability cycles to the next blade type. What's my blade type? Okay, that's really, really weird and confusing. It didn't do anything. It just kept doing damage. So how do I acquire these buffs in order to cycle through them? Do I Primordial Blast? Okay, and now I have Flame Salvo. Oh, I see. It had to do with Mana Strike. It says using this ability cycles your current blade type. So now I have Frost Blade. If I use it again, let's just see. I now have Magic Blade, or Blade of Magic. And if I do it again, I have Blade of Flames. Wow, okay. Elemental Blade does big damage based on my blade type. Fascinating. That's going to be very hard to use if I just want to drain their mana with Mana Strike, though. So right now, I'm in Blade of Frost, but the fact of the matter is, no, it changes itself constantly anyway. Every time you use the ability, you get a new version of it. Oh, wow. As you spam it, it's just doing crazy random effects. It feels very difficult to play around that, right? I guess maybe it either gets easier or it's simpler than I think, or the whole point is just to constantly mash abilities knowing that you're constantly using a different form of elemental magic. Oh, apparently that guy soloed Hogger. Wow. Thank you, dude. Reaper's OP. So I'm doing 1,000,000 times more damage now with this, right? And it looks like I finally have the tools to be a full melee class. I mean, you can tell that's pretty good damage. I have all these buffs. Arcane Essence, releasing an essence will cast a spell unique to the specific combination of essences I have. And I have 2 Fire Essence right now. Holding up to 3 at any one time is what I can do. There's a lot going on. There is a lot going on. I'm supposed to open Primordial Blast, maybe Mana Strike to get a blade going, and then I start cycling through my blades with Elemental Blade, and it just does good damage. I still want to see it in a dungeon, though, right? It actually looks like the BG queue from 10 to 19 is unavailable, and that's probably because most people are already 30 plus, but hopefully the dungeon queue is not the same. People are a lot less likely to get into PvP than they are PvE, and that's because PvP is harder, and no one likes to be beat by anybody, right? When you do a dungeon, you're not beat by anything, and it's not even that difficult to coordinate with the random people around you in order to succeed. I told you guys, and I showed you in my last video, I pugged Ascended Ragnaros, or I should just say Ascended Molten Core, and it wasn't difficult. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a longer fight, if I'm honest with you. So the fact of the matter is, PvE, even at its highest, it's just not that bad. And I think that's why people have to make it harder by doing, like, speed runs and who can beat the time and stuff. It's like, that's all you can do. But in PvP, there's a lot. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. And if you don't win off skill, people are so upset. That kind of sucks when you love the PvP because nobody's getting into it. But hey, at least we're level 15 and we can jump into the place where I'm sure there's going to be some people. Apparently I can queue as a healer, but we'll queue as DPS. What's the queue look like? All right, doesn't have an estimated time. I guess we'll find out how long it takes. All right, Ragefire Chasm just popped, and also a new ability has been acquired. Rift Blade. Let's enter the dungeon so we don't miss the queue, and then we can read this. An instant strike that causes 8 to 10 arcane damage. This ability cannot miss. Wow. It also says it consumes your essences to perform an effect based on the combination. Wow. Refer to individual lost page passives for these combinations. Where is that? What is Thaumaturgy? Wait, I have another ability I didn't know I had? Wow, look at all the fire from the Pyromancer, man. Okay, so hopefully I can be of some use. Wow, they have class colors now. Look how sick that is. All right, I'll take it. All right, so I'm basically just going to spam Elemental Strike and get some gear along the way, and we'll figure out what the hell is going on. So, Thaumaturgy, I think is how you say that. Blast an enemy with 13 to 16 arcane damage, increased by intellect and spell power. Spell Wrath ability draws a random assortment of cards from your deck of wonders. What? Which empowers your next Thaumaturgy. Each time you draw from the deck, any previously drawn cards are cleared. Wow. Whatever the hell that meant. I actually don't even know how to comprehend what just happened there. What is my spell deck of wonders thing? What is going on, man? It feels like I have 2 completely different playstyles, which is good, right? You could think of it like specs. I have this dagger playstyle that's highly complex, but I've also got a caster playstyle that is literally trying to be the Dota evoker. I mean, if you guys play Defense of the Ancients, the real talk one from, you know, Warcraft 3, like, that's what I'm trying to be, is evoker right now. I have all these different essences, and apparently now if I Rift Blade, something crazy happens. It just did a bunch of damage. Okay, let's try it again. I have all these essences. All of these essences, and then I use it, right? Boom. Nothing. Nothing happened, really. Let's try it again. Building my essences. I have a bunch. Now, Riftblade. Did I do that? No, that was the Pyromancer that had the meteor from the sky. There's no way I did that, right? All right, let's try again. Building up my essences. And then if I Riftblade... I'm not really seeing anything. Maybe I need to find this Book of Wonders to really figure out... Oh, okay. Unlocks the Expel Frost Essence combination. What? Unlocks the Thaw Essence combination. Wow, okay. So I have these two passives. Expel Frost inflicts 36 to 38 frost damage, and it costs 2 Arcane Essence and 1 Frost. Wow. Thaw costs 2 Fire and 1 Frost, and it does 60 to 65 fire damage, and reduces the movement speed by 15% for 15 seconds. It also says, while this effect persists, attackers have 3% increased Frost and Fire critical strike chance against the target, apparently stacking up to 3 times. I think I'm definitely going to have to get more into weak auras and stuff like that for a class like this, because unless they build it into the class, which I don't think they're going to do, it's going to be very hard to know. So I think I would need an aura that says, okay, you know, this animation pops up when you have specifically 2 Arcane Essence, 1 Fire, or whatever they need, right? And then you'll know, okay, that's the time to Riftblade if I want to slow. Or if I want to get the stacks up with that slow. Or, you know, whatever the other one did. Like, what did Expel Magic do again? Freezes them in place for 10 seconds. Okay, that's actually sick. But again, that's 2 Arcane, 1 Frost. Probably should be 2 Frost, 1 Arcane. But, I mean, it is about freezing, right? I don't know. Anyway, interesting. Very complex. And definitely going to take a weak aura to make happen consistently and accurately, I think. Oh, wow. Level 17. I don't know where these guys went, to be honest with you. I guess we're doing a random full clear because the tank feels like it. Because who goes back there? Do they have quests and they didn't tell me? Look at this, man. Imagine if you could use everything you've ever bought on Ascension just all the time. I have so much cool stuff. I just can't use most of it, man. That's actually so bad. But yeah, it looks like this is going to be one of the most complex classes in the game. I think that alongside things like the Chronomancer, right? This is going to be one of the hardest classes to play. There's too much going on. And I do mean too much. Like, there's just so much. And again, what retail tried to do whenever things got complex is add animations, but we kind of have to rely on weak auras and power auras to make our own stuff. A lot of people don't know how to do that very effectively and also don't want to have to learn, and I totally understand that. I know how to do the basics of it out of necessity, but anything a little bit more than the basics, and even in me, I don't even care enough to, you know, go that far into it. I think most people expect the game they play to just come with all the bells and whistles required to be successful, you know, rather than you having to go out to a third-party source in order to make it happen for yourself. But with that being said, I also think that this might be one of those classes that, despite its complexity, can also be played at a low level, fairly simply, and to great success. I mean, look what I'm doing. You know, with 99% damage reduction, I don't really have to care. Bam. Okay, I'm getting extra arcane damage right now. I'm spamming Elemental Blade. Elemental Blade is not giving me the things I thought it would give. Okay, I have Blade of Frost now. Okay, there's the essences. I'm not entirely sure where the essences come from or not. Let's build up a combination. Okay, what does that say? Blade of Flames. Okay, I need more essences. Where are my essences coming from? If you have Blade of Frost, you get a Frost Essence. Okay, so it's kind of random because your blade changes every time you use an ability. And then you get an essence essentially based off of that. Okay, do I have Frostblade yet? Okay, I do. I want Arcane Blade. Alright, I had it, and now I have an Arcane Essence. Now I have a Fire Essence. Now I'm back to the Blade of Magic. Jesus Christ. Alright, use it again. Alright, didn't get an Essence that time, though. So it's a little weird. Wow, it's like you have no idea when you're getting Essences and when you're not. Like, you just don't know. It's so complex. I think my best bet is just to Primordial Blast, get the salvo up, and just spam stuff randomly. I really do. Like, that just feels like the best way. Thaumaturgy. Boom. It's actually relatively decent damage. I think that was based on my Arcane Salvo. Spell Wrath ability draws a random assortment of cards. Okay. Let's Spell Wrath again. Where's my random assortment of cards? Because I am very curious about that. There it is, Ace of Ice and Ace of Magic. So the Ace of Ice, it does bonus frost damage, right? Well, let's check it out. Ace of Magic is similar. Boom. Wow, it hits multiple times. Okay, so the idea is that you spam Spell Wrath, you get your cards, and then you Thaumaturgy. I think that's how you say it, right? And then it hits real... Oh, is it instant? I didn't even realize. No, it's not supposed to be. I guess one of the cards makes it. What is Shard of Arcana? Primordial Blast releases a Shard of Arcana. Okay. Can I get it off before the buff goes? I think it still went off. It did a bunch of arcane damage. You guys understand what I'm doing right now, right? Like, this is absolutely absurd. There's just so much going on, and I'm trying to process it all at once and explain it. Like, this is an intense class. I thought the Chronomancer was going to be the literal most complex thing I've ever played on Koa, and it's not. Because it was complex, but this is way harder, right? Only because you're just not entirely sure what the hell's going on, and the gameplay loop doesn't really tell you either. So it feels like I'm going to have to do a quick college research paper to understand it all, and then come back, and I think I'll get it. But I think that's the whole point of a leveling process. It's a little bit longer too, right? Like, that's why I want to go all the way to 40 in this video, which is the current level cap in the alpha. Again, because it'll let me learn the class along the way. The reason I use the aura for it, which lets me level faster, is because the open world mobs die so fast that you don't actually have to be good at the class to kill them. So yeah, just use the aura so I can speed through the parts that are bad and get to, I guess, some dungeons with higher HP mobs where I can actually test the class, which I appreciate. Because I know 1k HP on a cultist is not normal. Absolutely not. Alright, I have 3 essences right now, and I think I just spam Elemental Blade. And I think the only reason I would ever not is if I wanted to Mana Blade to acquire more mana. Right? Because they do the same thing, don't they? They both cycle my current blade type. I think Elemental Blade just doesn't start off by giving me a blade type, right? But that's about it. Once I have a blade type, I spam Elemental Blade for more blade types. Then I have to hope that my attack on that blade type gives me an essence, and then I have to use those essences to power up my other abilities. Well, specifically the same one, Elemental Blade, but also Rift Blade, right? Look at all the random AoE that I'm doing, you know? Like, you don't even know where the damage is coming from, but you don't care because it's fun. Like, that's just basically how it works, dude. Now, I'm also doing, like, last place damage. That's one thing I've noticed as well. Now, to be fair, we all know if you're going up against a Pyromancer in PvE, you're probably going to get wrecked. You know, same thing for the lightning guy, right? The lightning one that we played as well. He's pretty good in PvE, lots of AoE. But then we've also got a cultist. I came in third, I'll take it. And then we've got the guy that, as far as I know, has the worst damage in the game, which is the Venomancer. Sadly, it's the only reason I haven't done a Venomancer playthrough yet. It's because I just think they suck. Like, if you're not healing or tanking, I think they suck. Could be wrong. Maybe somebody's out there with a special build, and it could get better at 60. But at the moment, if you're just looking for damage, Venomancer is garbage. I think Mana Strike is always better if you're attacking something with mana then, right? I was just thinking about it, and Mana Strike does extra damage by burning mana from your target. So I actually dueled a Reaper, as you guys saw. He had no mana, and he crushed the hell out of me. But then right before him, I dueled a Tinker and ran him in like 2 seconds and absolutely crapped on him. So I think that we're getting the beginnings, at least, of a true anti-mage. And I think everyone wants to play Evoker plus Anti-Mage, right? Like, that's a cool combination from Dota. I think the real fun is really going to come from, hopefully, them promoting some high-risk PvP. And then number 2, raiding and Mythic Plus, right? Like, people trying to get their rotations right, and it's not just relying on, you know, who rolled Arcane Power, who got the luckiest with their rolls. It's just going to be who mastered their class. That's cool. There's not going to be hiding of builds or anything because there's no need to. Everyone's going to figure out how to play every class eventually. Then it's just going to be who's the best. And that's something I'm looking forward to, I got to be honest with you. Because it almost feels like they've given up on it with Ascension, right? Like they're pandering to the PvE audience, which is fine. I am also a part of the PvE community. I've done my Ascended raids. I've done my dues. I've done my Mythic Plus. But I've got to break up the monotony, man. And structured PvP is a sweat fest. So the only place to get some good semi-casual PvP is high risk. High risk leveling specifically, not high risk at max. That's it, right? So hopefully they understand that. And maybe just add the wilderness to World of Warcraft, you know, from RuneScape. I really do think, like, if people don't want to be PK'd while leveling, give us a place where we can all go and just fight each other, you know? But again, they'd have to segregate it based on item level. It's the only way it would work, or else only the best, highest geared players would go, and then no one else would want to play with them. One of the ways I've been looking at games now is, like, very real. I feel like we all get sucked into stuff, right? Think about it like this. when you were a kid and you were just trying to play Mario Kart or Mario Party, right? Or tic-tac-toe, for God's sake. No, I mean, not really, but also kinda. Or Foursquare. You know what I mean? Like any normal game. Whenever somebody came and was trying to be like the super hardcore pro at it, they were always the one that you wished would go home early. You know what I mean? Like, no one wants to play with a guy that takes the game too serious. You want to play with a bunch of people who are just there to have fun. If someone happens to be good, great, you know? But it's a little bit harder to find nowadays. Anyway, 21 is acquired. 6 levels off one dungeon, guys. That really gets my jimmies going. What I'm gonna do is perfect this dagger version of the build and see what we can do with it real quick. So I'm gonna show you guys in the background this whole conversation. I randomly logged in right after I got done editing the last part of this video, and I immediately saw this guy, Rune Simp. Immediately, I think level 40 Runemaster with transmog named Rune Simp. This dude must be a pro, right? It's very obvious. I asked the guy, hey, you're just the guy I'm looking for. Teach me how to play daggers. And he did. And it made logical sense. And so now I think I have a grasp on what to do, but he even admits that this takes a while to learn. And it's going to take me a second, I'm sure, as well. But I do know better what to do. And I learned I'm going to be a stealth class. Everyone said, the one thing I don't like about Koa is there's no dagger stealth class. And I thought that too. Well, it turns out it was just hidden. The dagger spec is literally a magic rogue, a mage rogue. Oh my god, that is so cool, guys. I am so excited right now. And yeah, you know what? The casting version of this is going to go to the wayside because, dude, I'm going to get literally ambush on steroids. We'll talk about it when it happens. A mana form version of, mana shroud version of stealth. And apparently a stun he's talking about. It's just like, this is just crazy. This is just crazy. He gave me some tips on PvP as well, some special things, you know, about specifically the class. You don't want to apparently go below 85% mana, so you want to spam the mana strike at that point, because apparently that's when you start to get destroyed due to your reduced stamina. It's just very interesting. It's like, if you're at 99% mana, 1% of all damage coming at you hits your mana, but you're at 85%, then 15% of all damage that you get hit by starts to go to your health, rather. And that is apparently enough to start just absolutely wrecking you. But okay, that was an awesome experience that I'm so freaking happy to have. Let's keep leveling with our newfound knowledge. I'll show you guys the rotations that you apparently have to do to cycle everything off for some pretty awesome effects. And we'll keep on leveling until we get some stealth stuff and all the way to 40 too. Okay, so I've learned from some wise ones, as you know, another one as well, this guy Emergence. And now I think I've got these combos set up and I want to show them to you. I've set up a weak aura for it as well. That's kind of cool looking, I think. So this little 2 red lines, red-orange lines, that signifies my blade. And I've got a pink one for Mana Blade and a blue one for Frost Blade. And these right here are very specific combos of abilities I can do. I just have to remember it. It will go away after I use the first ability. And if I do this combo, I will be able to use Thaw, which does big fire damage. It reduces movement speed and gives me crit. And I want to spam this, I think. But if I do a combo that comes right after it, because I'll start on the perfect blade, and we'll get to it, you'll see it, I'll actually be able to combo it directly into Expel Frost, which is just AoE damage. So I want to show it to you. Alright, so check this out. Right now, since I'm on fire, if I go Elemental, Mana Strike, Elemental, Mana Strike, and then I do it again, 1 Elemental this time into the Mana Strike, and then I Rift Blade, you can see I have Thaw, and I did big damage, right? Now, at this precise moment, if I Mana Strike, I can go right back to it and do the same combo if I want. He's dead though. And then I just keep spamming the Thaw for more crit and really big fire damage. But there's another combo I can go into as well. And that is the Expel Frost combo, which I want to show you guys. So here we are. If I want to do this one, I need to exactly do 2 elemental strikes into 2 mana strikes into 1 elemental blade. Sorry, you know, same thing. And then bam, I can Rift Blade for the big effect. So we'll try it this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the last one, now AoE, right? There it is. They're all frozen and they took AoE damage. And look, it happens to circle perfectly back into a Thaw if I'd like as well. So it really comes down to, do you want big single target burst? In which case I think you would attempt to spam Thaw. Or do you want some AoE, right? And if you need to reset, you simply Rift Blade to get rid of all of your runes. And it seems to be that simple. Now, I also just got a brand new ability called Unleash Runes. See if we can do the AoE from memory right now, right?
Nope.
Shit. It's hard, guys. It's really hard. And you do kind of see yourself forfeiting to just anything that you can possibly do. But let's see. Can I do this into that? And let's see. If I'm correct, this guy should be thawed. Yes, there we go. So I'm getting it right, and I don't think these things have to stay on the screen forever, but they might, you know? Because it's really, really nice, especially for people watching curious. Like, why is he pressing what he's pressing? Well, boom. Well, I think I messed it up again. But you guys get the point, man. It helps you learn. So, I really like it. But like I said, Unleash Runes. Let's talk about that one while we've got a second. We finally got something really that plays into these runes that we keep not getting. Because we have to really just cast to get them. I guess we're not critting often enough. And I also got a new aspect, by the way, which only regenerates 3% of my max mana every 5 seconds with this spec. All right, let's go for the AoE. I'll read it all in a moment. I've got to help my team. All right, this should be it. Yes, I did it right. Into the thaw. The guy just tried to give me some random stuff. Oh, I didn't get the thaw, man. It's complicating. It really is. But that's why this is so helpful. But anyway, Aspect of Arcane, like I said, 3% max mana every 5 seconds. But while active, Spell Wrath, Rune Blast, Primordial Blast, and Unleash Runes will actually have a chance to stun my enemy, which is very interesting. Wow, I thawed perfectly there. Did you guys see that? I'm actually very happy. Don't know what I'm doing now, and I'm supposed to be using Primordial Blast first. Okay, fine, I'll take it. By the way, going up on the damage charts now that I have more of an idea of what I'm doing, the other spell that we keep eluding is actually Unleash Runes. Consume all of my inscribed runes and begin firing magic missiles. Okay. Target not in line of sight. Now. Oh, yes! That is sick! What a cool animation. And look at this, dude! I still love the Starcaller's water magic. That's what a Resto Shaman should have been, right? Anyway, Spell Wrath actually reduces the cooldown of this by 1 second. And it's increased by half a second for every rune. And I gain 1 stack of Cosmic Impact when used. Which, if you remember correctly from my warp, is actually just 15% crit and 10% haste. So, very fascinating stuff, although that seems to be more for a caster, and I'm loving the dagger route. Here's the thaw, by the way, on the Taskmaster. 306 crit. We've got this. Come on, 2 mana strikes. Okay, I know I'm on the right track. This should be AoE. It is! Yes, dude. You just have to remember where you started. If you remember where you started, you can't mess it up, although it is hard. But what I've noticed is you'll pass your element twice every time. Every single time. So I'm actually going to Primordial Blast this guy. He is thawed. We're going to go for the AoE. So I have to Mana Strike twice on this, into another Elemental Strike, into the Rift Blade. Nice. Oh, that's just like really, really rewarding, dude. That is really, really rewarding. And also completely unplayable without weak auras. Completely unplayable without weak auras. It was so confusing and so bad before I had weak auras, man. Stop fighting, dude. Oh my god. I'm so sorry, dude. Resum. Also, I'm excited to have a working weak auras add-on. I'm going to leave it in the description below, a direct link. This guy gave it to me, the Rune Simp guy, and it's a perfectly good link. And it gives you a working version of weak auras for Ascension and Koa specifically. So if you want that and you haven't been able to find a good one that's consistent, I got you, because it's working right now for me, so I'm happy with it. My DPS has gone up considerably now that I understand what's going on. It's actually pretty intense, and I said that and I immediately messed up my rotation. Nobody probably noticed because the class is too new, but I'm just going to be real with you guys. I did. I messed it up just now. But let's see if we get the thaw off, right? We do. That's the easiest one. That is definitely the easiest one. And what I've noticed is I can just cycle to the one that I want, immediately reset if I messed up, and then just resume my rotation, right? I don't know why I said it like that, but yeah, that's what I can do. I can resume my rotation. And we can do that. Immediately thaw. So I think I'm starting to master this. It's actually very simple if you break it down into simple terms. And so let me try to do it real quick. Essentially, you're just playing roulette, right? And it's a color roulette. So in my case, Mana Strike, or E, is what makes the different parts of the wheel turn. And then I stop it wherever I want it to be with W, and I collect the essence for that. So currently, if I'm on Frost, what I want to do is start by collecting the essence. I know based on the rotation it showed me that I want the Arcane one. I then press E to skip out of the Fire one, again to skip out of the Frost because I want double Arcane. Let's try it up here. Oh, somebody's dead. Ah, God. Alright, it's already pulled. I have the Arcane, I use R, boom, everybody's frozen. And if I don't want to go straight to Fire, I press E and go straight to Frost. If I make a mistake, I can always reset, as I said. So it's actually very, very interesting, and I'm starting to love it. Oh, God, that's too much. What do I have? Okay, let's just start over. Let's see what we can do. Let's go to the AoE, right? Alright, so I need one more Mana Strike into this one, into the Freeze. Now let's go for the Thaw. Come on. Boom, get fucked. Okay, messed that one up. That's fine. Let's switch over to Thaw. 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy should die. Close. It's a big crit. I'll take it. Let's go back to my AoE. Alright. This should be it. Frozen. Nice. See? Told you. Once you get the hang of it, you're just playing color roulette. Except it's not random. That's the only difference. I'll take it, and look, my DPS went up significantly. In fact, look, I'm way ahead of the other guy because he probably doesn't know how to play as well because I didn't either. It was too confusing. And without weak auras, it's not intuitive. That's the thing. It doesn't make anybody dumb. It's just you really have to put your mind to it. And it's not entirely enticing because before you know how to play, your DPS is so low, you think, well, maybe if I improve it, it'll go up a little bit. But you don't think it's going to be nearly double. And this one almost is, right? So I think there's a lot of nuance to this class. It's going to be a high skill cap class, though, because I think about what I'm doing right now, just with this first, 1 through 30 experience, I just messed up, right? And then I think adding things onto it. Adding things to this rotation seems like it's going to be a lot of fun and also incredibly difficult. But look, I got the freeze. I'm doing it slowly but surely. I've already mastered it. But okay, that is my dead mines. I'll take second place DPS at the end with a big difference between me and the other guy. And I made a mistake that fight too, so I'm very happy with that. And you can see his stuff looks like he's spamming just random stuff. But my stuff says Elemental Blade up there and Expel Frost. Right, so there's a big difference in what's being used. Very exciting, actually. All right, I'm gonna improve on this weak aura slightly by adding another, I think it was a Mana Strike to my Flame Blade. Whatever it is, though, I'm gonna make it happen real quick, and we're gonna keep leveling. Level 27 and no brand new abilities as far as I can see. Oh, wait. Mana Shroud. Oh, yes. I finally got it. My stealth. You shroud your form in Arcane Mist. 10-second cooldown instant, by the way, turning me invisible. Not stealth. Invisible. In World of Warcraft terms, assuming they keep it the same, this is about 50 billion times better than stealth. Okay, and every second while shrouded, I gain a stack of primordial energy, reducing the cast time of my next primordial blast or spell wrath by 20%, stacking up to 5 times. Okay, so basically, I want to open, if I can, with a primordial blast that, because of this buff, is currently instant cast. So it works. See, I was always forgetting the primordial blast. I just realized that. That's something I didn't do well last fight. And the reason is because there's a 2-second cast time. It's not intuitive. And they fixed it. You just start from stealth every time. So let's just see it go instant cast. This is so sick, guys. Easily the best class I've played so far because it's so rewarding. Like, the journey has been great. I just wish the weather was better, just for the video's sake. Because this is a pretty powerful rain right now, man. I can't even find any mobs. They don't want to be out during the rain. Feel bad for my player character. I'm going to mess up my hair, dude. Oh, and by the way, I'm kind of shadow form stealth right now. Interesting animation. Okay, Defias cut purse. Why is it level 20? I think it's because they scaled the zones. I think they told me they're doing something like that, or it's in the works. Anyway, boom. Wow, very interesting. Remember, the whole point of that is really to acquire the salvo for extra damage on my auto attacks and with every ability I do. In fact, as soon as I get off that primordial blast, it almost feels like I've doubled the potential of every single ability I throw out. That's pretty sick. All right, let's keep leveling. This is so exciting. Oh, no. Look at this. I also got Warp Dagger. Damn! Oh, 73 mana, 20 yard range, requires daggers, requires stealth. instantly teleport behind an enemy target and strike them for 300% weapon damage. It's a dagger, as arcane though, which goes through armor. And the target's movement speed is for some reason also slowed by 35%. I'll take it. It's the League of Legends stuff, man. You pack 15 things into one ability and then have all of your abilities synergize in obscure ways. But okay, it also says can only be used during Mana Shroud and requires a dagger in the main hand. Wow! Okay, so back to this mode, and I'll just put this on W. Let's just look at the damage. Come on, there has to be something. Now, this does make me choose between the Primordial Blast on my auto attacks, instant cast, and the Warp Dagger, right? Unless I can... Wait, can I make it? Will the buffs stay if I actually go for the Warp Dagger first? And do I have to macro them on top of each other in order to make it consistent? Let's see. It does stay. Oh, and you can just easily, immediately get it off. Wow. Holy crap, guys. I am a true stealth class now. I think it's only fit for me to grab any gear I can possibly get my hands on, probably off the auction house, and jump into a BG, assuming it pops. It says unavailable. God. That says a lot, though, because during the first 1 to 30 part of the alpha, people were in BGs a lot longer, and there has been a massive boost in players right now. So it's not, like, dead. The problem that I'm seeing, if you want to call it a problem, is that everybody's 30 plus right now. I mean, everybody, right? Because that's the new stuff, and everybody's reading everything, getting used to everything, running dungeons, leveling, talking with their guildies and stuff like that, trying to figure stuff out. And I think that's a good sign. I don't know. I'm really excited to get to those new talents. Just to prove my point, we run in and there's immediately a 37. There was a 34 back there. What's this guy? 40k, 40, 31. 35. I'm so happy I'm right. Wouldn't have been embarrassing. 40. 40. Ah, yes, dude. Everybody's above 30. I told you. Ah, man. See? And that, you know what? That was an educated guess. Didn't even know. Stormwind just fully proved it to me. All right, anyway, let's get some gear. Okay, guys, I powered up to 31st, and I want to show you some new abilities I got. Number 1, we just got Open Rift Gate. This is pretty similar to the Cataclysm Warlock portal that they had, except it's a little bit more complex, which is par for the course for Koa. Tears open a rift in space that exists for 2 minutes. You can use the rift gate to set your Hearthstone location or interact with it using spells. So for example, I don't entirely understand the Hearthstone thing. Oh, what? So I can have my Hearthstone anywhere on the map. That's the implication. And then I can also do this. Rift Gate transfer. You teleport to the nearest Rift Gate. And I'm over here. That is really freaking sick. And it says nearest. So the implication is that if I set one of them as my Hearthstone, I can have another one. That's really cool. And I also got another incredibly cool ability called Warplink, which is like War Blink almost. Mark your current location on a 7-second cooldown, by the way. Instacast 50-yard range. After 6 seconds, you are warped back to the marked spot. So here's a little test. If I were to go all the way over here, and then I Warplink, and then I do, oh god, that! Does it Warplink me back? No, I gamed the system. I completely gamed the system. It put me through a loading screen. Maybe if I go the opposite direction this time. All right, so we're going to go all the way over here. I'm going to Warplink, and then we're going to recall right when it's low. And now, does it still Warplink me? No. Wow, that's probably a bug, because that's actually a really good way to game the Warplink. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't have... assume someone's chasing me. And I do exactly what I just did. They charged on me. They're still on me. I Warplink. He knows I'm going to go right back there, or so he thinks, because then I go over here. And... oh, if you time it, you have to time it a certain way for it not to work. I must have done it right as the cooldown was going to go off. Let's try again. And at 1. Oh, so it just bugged one time. It does work the way I thought it worked. It will actually return me to the Warplink, even if I go all the way over here first, run all the way away, I'm all the way back here. Okay, cool. So it is working right. It was just a few bugs. So... okay, a little buggy, but it works the way I thought it would work now that I look at it, and I'm really happy with it. Basically, what we're seeing is a bunch of mobility and stealth, dual daggers, and a really, really sick color wheel type of rotation of the elements, and it's just awesome. But yeah, those are really cool abilities, guys. Everything's starting to shape up. All right, I've been doing some Scarlet Monastery, and we got to level 33, and that means we can finally interact with this. So it looks like everything has a proper name now. I guess I had to get to the level to where it was relevant, or maybe it was patched in between the time of last time and now. Who cares? But Arcane, Runic, and Riftblade, we can go into any of these. Powerful arcane attacks and portal magic, powerful spells and summoning familiars that you can manipulate with magic, or, okay, Riftblade is where I want to be, using dual daggers to assassinate enemies. Okay, so first two things I can choose from, either Lost Page Shatter, so this would be another combo, or Fracture. Let's start with the first one. Lost Page Shatter says it unlocks the Shatter Essence combination. Shatter does pretty small frost damage to enemies in a 10-yard frontal cone, freezing them in place for 6 seconds. That's kind of a crappier version of the one I already have. Enemies below 35% health, though, take a huge amount of damage. Okay, so this is actually an execute. That makes a lot more sense. So it's either an execute for 2 frost essence and 1 fire essence, or Fracture. 30 energy, channeled ability, melee range, 10-second cooldown. I deliver 3 swift strikes to an enemy target, all of them dealing arcane damage. My target's dodge chance is also reduced by 50% while channeling. Wow. Now, I was given a tip that Fracture is really strong right now, so let's go ahead and choose it. It is a brand new ability, and yeah, let's just see how it goes. So it looks like all of your abilities will show up right here, so that's pretty cool. And once you pick one, I do not believe you can choose the other. You have to go to the next tier. I believe that's how it works. Could be wrong, though. Anyway, let's go ahead and see. Also, just as a quick aside, while I find something to test this stuff on, notice I don't have a speed penalty when I'm in this version of stealth. That's pretty bonkers, man. That is really good. Okay, let's see. Fracture. Holy crap, 130s 3 times? That's ridiculous. Let's actually see if we can kill this guy. Primordial Blast. We're gonna go for the fire one now. Bam, okay. Let's go for the frost one, why not? We can actually fracture again. There we go. Oh, this is perfect, dude. Nice, and we got the frost off at the end. We're starting to master it. Okay, level 36, so we can look at another new ability. And don't worry, we will test all of this stuff out. So we have Imbue in the Riftblade tree and Elder Magi Scroll. Wow. Now, I have been given no tips about this. Let's start with the Magi Scroll. 30-second cooldown instant cast. Blasts all nearby enemies for 13 to 16 arcane damage and reduces all damage I take by 15% for 8 seconds. So it's kind of like a little bit of AoE and a little bit of damage mitigation. Okay, it doesn't look crazy powerful. However, it does generate 1 arcane essence. Basically, that means I can get off my Expel Frost a little bit faster. That's good. It's my longest combo right now. And it makes sense that it would also do some AoE damage. So that makes sense, but what is Imbue? You imbue your rune daggers on a 1-minute cooldown with immense magical power, increasing your attack speed by 50%. For 6 seconds. While active, the base damage dealt by rune dagger strikes, which is that damage that I get on all of my auto attacks now, is increased by 50%. So this is just straight single target, and this is AoE. Okay, pretty simple choice, I guess. If I'm honest with you, I feel like my AoE is lacking. I actually want this for dungeons, so I'm gonna go Elder Magi Scroll and just try it out. All right, let's just look at it. Invalid target. Okay. Okay, I'm outside Goldshire, so I can target some kind of enemy, and I think that's probably what I need to do in order to get this ability off. Okay, Forest Spider, take it. There we go, okay. So theoretically, it hits all nearby enemies as well. I guess we'll be able to try it in this dungeon. Okay, so that guy's frozen. I can Frost, Arcane, and then I can immediately use the scroll and then immediately get more frost off. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That greatly expedites the AoE. Let's try it on a bigger pull though, right? All right, let's try it over here on this big pull with the Primordial Blast and everything on top. So we open like that, get the Primordial Blast off. 1, 2, new scroll, and then nice, it worked. Let's just fracture real quick. We are close to the top. We are only losing to, well, both of the Sun Clerics now. Jesus, they were really strong, I guess. Doing massive DPS. But I really like that. I think it's pretty fun. And it's still 15% reduced damage for 8 seconds. I had no other way to reduce damage yet, so that's my first one. And I think it's not too bad. Let's go back to this Runic Familiar, too. Let's see the AoE. 163 at this level. Okay, we should be mixing that in, too. Only an 81 on that ambush. I need much better daggers, I think. And this is my fire damage right now with the Primordial Blast first. Let's do that. Okay, and a 227 and a 138. That's not too bad. All right, let's do that AoE. There we go. There we go. We'll chain it again. 1, 2, but we got to go all the way this time. Got the other arcane essence, and bam, they're all frozen. Fracture. You can see I'm putting a lot more work in for less DPS. But I think as we scale, as we get better weapons, I don't think it'll be like that anymore. But we're getting everything off pretty consistently, I'd say. We should Primordial Blast, though. Without the stealth opening, it's really, really hard to just, like, commit that to muscle memory because of the cast time. I've said that before, but it's true. Look at all that AoE, though, if we get it all off. It's not the most yet, but like I said, it's going to scale. It's going to be really good at max. I have a feeling. I have a good feeling. 37 off that. I'll take it. All right, guys, level 39. Now, we got a brand new choice of abilities between Lost Page, Ignite Mana, and Pyroclasmic Scroll. Now, Pyroclasmic Scroll, I just tested it, and it's currently bugged. But if it wasn't bugged, it'd be really, really fun. So it's a 40-second cooldown instant cast that requires a melee weapon, 20-yard range though, and it blasts an enemy for 19 to 24 fire damage, but it generates 2 fire essence. So one thing I figured out is that I could actually use that and only have to use my elemental blade once on the frost, and then suddenly I would be able to get an instant thaw, and that's pretty big damage. The problem is the current bug is actually putting my elemental blade on cooldown when I use the scroll. And that's not supposed to happen. It certainly doesn't occur when I use Elder Magi Scroll with anything. So really, really weird. So one thing I do want to test is actually a brand new combo ability called Lost Page Ignite Mana. This Ignite Mana ability burns a portion of the target's mana over 16 seconds. Again, a true anti-mage. And it deals Spellfire damage, which is fire and arcane. It also requires 2 fire and 1 arcane, making it a sort of opposite of Thaw, which requires 2 fire and 1 frost. So I want to real quick just see how that works and also just test the damage. Okay, so I currently have Blade of Flame. I need 2 fire, so 1. I needed 1 arcane, right? So we skip this, get the arcane, go for the fire. Boom. 52? Wow, that's a big dot. That's a level 40. Now, the mana drain's pretty much irrelevant, but it could be that the Chronomancer is just, like, good against that. It could be that he has some good mana regen or some abilities that I don't remember that could be helping. Or it could be that it sucks. But that's very fascinating. And guys, this, in all of its glory, level 40. We did it. It's been a long journey, but we finally did it. Didn't get anything new I can see from the chat here, but that's fine because, you know, the new abilities will come when they increase the level cap and we can get more talents. And by the way, there's still plenty of classes to look at and specs to look at as well, so this is just sick. Okay, guys, level 40. We did it. This is the full class. I think we've shown it in all of its glory. I really like this class. We have the stealth into the ambush opener, into the if we waited long enough primordial blast. We have the fracture for pretty big damage. That's like 500 damage burst right there. I have 1500 HP. A normal person might have 2100. That's like almost a fifth, let's say, at the lowest end of a player's HP. And overall, with the combos and mastering them, and the fact that I have so much versatility with the teleports and the rift gate and teleporting to that and setting my Hearthstone on it, man. And then not even to leave out the warp link, which teleports me right back to where I was after 7 seconds. And we also have aspects, and we don't even have one that really benefits being a dual dagger DPS as much yet. We have a tank one, an aspect of Dominion, and more of the range DPS version, an aspect of Arcana, although I am actually able to proc this sometimes with the Primordial Blast for that 1.5 second stun, so that's cool. And then the rune system, which I've not even gotten close to delving into, and let alone the fact that there are 2 other specs, man, which just might as well be 2 other classes. Guys, this is sick. If you enjoyed the Runemaster in all of its glory, make sure to give this video a like and a subscribe. But we're going to go ahead and end it right here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Mcdoubles out.